Not good. What's up, dude?
That's a choice.
I like picking the most up bikes when I ride with you.
Oh yeah, perfect.
In my review video of the G-Force Powersports YZ450FX, I pretty much boasted about how fun this bike can be in a wide range of terrains. From rocky desert to fast woods riding and hitting large, trials-like obstacles, it impressed me with its versatility for being a bike specifically designed to go fast. I was able to ride the bike on what most people would consider pretty difficult features, and in all honesty, it felt great. I actually managed to ride certain things on it more easily than I typically could on my more hard enduro setup two-stroke bikes. Maybe it was the sharp responsiveness of the throttle or the very linear power curve that just made it feel very controllable on these one-off obstacles. But what happens when you throw the bike into some proper hard enduro terrain, where the features are by no means groomed, the traction is limited, and your heart rate wants to climb out of control? In this video, we put it to the test and see exactly how the YZ450FX handles hard enduro.
That's not what I didn't mean to go that far. It's really awkward getting set up for this. Now I'm tired.
Nice! I went out with my friends Nick and Cody, who are both pro-level hard enduro racers, to see if both myself and the bike could keep up. Spoiler alert, I sure couldn't.
That's what I want to do. I gotta test it. The traction's definitely an issue with my tire setup. A gummy would be great.
As for tires, I had a rather generic Mitas C18 soft compound tire with a pretty good feeling soft mousse. It's a fantastic tire for a wide range of uses, but far from ideal for this terrain. A super soft Mitas 454 would have been my ideal tire of choice, but in this instance, I just had to make do with what I had. Luckily for you, I keep these tires on the shelf at brad-products.com. There's a link in the description of this video. Please go check it out. You'll also find a wide range of Bulletproof Designs protection parts like radiator guards, disc guards, and anything needed to make sure your bike, whether it's Yamaha, Gas, Husky, Honda, KTM, the whole range of bikes, I've got parts for it. Go check it out. It really helps support this channel. Thank you. For perspective, this terrain is what the two of them are riding to train for Romaniacs coming up. It's on par with the difficulty of Gold Class per what they told me. Performance-wise, the only changes to the bike were adding a fan, which is absolutely needed for this type of riding. It definitely would have boiled over without it, but with it, I had no issues. Well, not related to temperature at least. We'll get to that. The terrain on this ride was very slick. Under the dry layer of pine needles and loam was a wet layer of greasy mud that coated all the rocks. With the right tire, I don't think this would have been an issue, but it was absolutely a handicap for me and the bike. But enough excuses, we'll take that into account and move on. To get to the point, yes, you can absolutely ride hard enduro on this bike. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. Let's start with what it's good at. Power. This trail is up near 9,000 to 10,000 feet. At no point did I wish the bike had more power. It absolutely chugged through any scenario with ease. Phenomenal bottom end torque and surprisingly manageable once you get used to controlling it. It didn't really feel like the power was ever getting away from me and causing the wheel to spin out. Rather, just the tire itself created this problem as it would have on any other bike. My main concern was heat, but it had no issues even when I was stuck for minutes at a time. The suspension could certainly be more plush, but it by no means was bad. Certainly not the reason for this bike being a bit difficult to ride. So what are the downfalls? This bike is heavy, a whole 25 pounds heavier than my YZ250X two-stroke. That may not seem like much, but when you consider that a fair bit of that weight is up higher on the chassis compared to a two-stroke, you sure feel it when deadlifting the bike uphill after a tip over.
Oh. Oh, every time you mess up, it's like doing a PR deadlift.
I absolutely suffered when I made a mistake on this thing. I'm sure a better rider would have less issue fighting this, but I was already in over my head in this terrain and the bike was not helping.
Oh. Whew. That was so close to being clean too.
Whether or not you have interest in this 450FX, G-Force Powersports certainly has a bike for you. They're the largest family-owned dealership in Denver and have a huge inventory of Yamaha, KTM, Husqvarna, Suzuki, and Kawasaki motorcycles. It's really rad that their marketing manager and now friend of mine Josh is taking a unique approach and willing to work with creators on projects like this one. My buddy Zach, who's a badass rider and very knowledgeable, also works as a salesman there. He can help you get set up on a bike that suits your needs. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to stop in and say hello. Also, follow them on Instagram and drop a comment. Support a dealership that's putting effort into helping me create useful and exciting content to show all of you. Let them know who sent you when you stop by. Let's get back to that fan. It worked great, right? Sure, it kept it at a cool enough operating temp, but at the expense of it needing to run pretty much the whole ride. That's great if you keep the bike running, but with the many breaks I needed to take, the fan kept running with the bike off, which ultimately killed the battery.
Well, I was kind of waiting for that to happen. My battery died! Oh, I just made progress too. All right, now we get to see if with a dead battery you're able to bump start it, which I know on the KTM TPIs, unless you have a little capacitor, cannot bump start it once the battery dies. Hopefully that's not the case on here, otherwise this is gonna be interesting. Jesus. I don't really wanna go down there because the trail's here and I don't know if that's gonna get me stuck. It's really steep, really slick. There we go. Nice. So there is one little trick. I just got out of that hole and pretty much back up to where I left off. You have the bike sitting off. It seems like the battery's charged up enough now to work again. But fan kicks on, give the e-start a little bump, and it'll cycle off for another like 30 seconds or so. So I just got so tired and exhausted trying to get up here. I was not thinking about it, but I was doing that earlier. So something to be mindful of. I don't know the reason for that, if it's intentional or what, but it is kind of a nice like manual cutoff for the GYTR fan. It's just annoying that you got to do that as often as you do.
A manual toggle switch would be a great addition to prevent this. I later learned that you can hold down the kill switch for a few seconds and it will shut the bike's electronics down completely.
Damn, boy. She thick ass boy. I can't, honestly, it's doing better on this than I thought it would though. This was what I was worried about. Yeah, it's definitely more of a me than the bike thing. I'm thinking I'm gonna need a pull here. Or I just launch the bike. Yeah, it might bite. Four strokes. Yeah, it's got a little bite. Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. We don't need you. Get out of here, man. No. Oh my God.
I had to call it quits at a certain point as the battery was low on charge and so was I. With a better tire setup, I think I could have ridden all the way up the trail. With the right rider, the bike is absolutely capable of just about anything. I am not a pro rider and would definitely have had an easier time on just about any enduro-oriented two-stroke bike compared to this 450. Jeez. To wrap things up, the bike is certainly not the limiting factor for probably 99% of people. The rider's ability is. And that seems to include mine. With that said, I had lots of fun trying to ride it in this extreme terrain. For most of my riding, I'd be perfectly happy on the bike, even if it's a bit more challenging. If you're a new rider and you're just getting into hard enduro, stay the fuck away. It does great with big hit lines and fancy party tricks, but when it comes down to a full day of greasy, steep rock climbs, it's just a bit too much for my enjoyment.
Let's see how it goes. Not good. Oh, that's steep. Wow. All right, I'm getting wicked arm cramp in my right arm, and it only gets more steep, more slick from here. So I'm gonna turn it around, head back to the bottom. We found the limits, not honestly the limits of the bike, but the limits of Brad and this non-gummy rear tire today. So better bike setup, and conclusion, absolutely you can do hard enduro on a YZ 450FX, but you're definitely gonna be working hard for it.